Hello.
That's not what you say.
Welcome back.
No, you say, all right, we're recording.
Well, you just said it.
Well, that's our line for
Okay.
Malibu Table. How are you?
Good. How are you
Good.
doing?
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Habemus Papam.
Yes. Did we record last week?
Habemus Papam.
I don't.
No, we took a brief pause in the podcast. We're bringing it back better than ever. Season 2. The Malibu Table.
We should figure out seasons.
New us, new me, new content limitations. Season 2. Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam. So
Habemus Papam.
we should talk about the.
You don't think we should get right into that?
No, we should talk about the First Communion last
Great.
weekend because that happened before the white smoke.
Habemus Papam. Right.
Correct. So let's talk about our last First Communion.
Great. I think it went off without a hitch.
Yes.
It was a beautiful day-ish. I mean, it was cloudy to begin with, but it was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't as nice as we thought or hoped it would be from a weather perspective.
I did have a twinge of bitter. We can talk about that later, so we'll just enter into the actual First Communion ceremony mass. I thought it was beautiful.
Yes.
It was great. Father Mario did an exceptional job.
Yes.
Wouldn't you think so?
Yes. He's done the past couple.
He's done a lot of our kids' sacraments. He's our family priest. What I love is that he actually did something different this time, and he bought gifts for the girls. He brought little tiny saints.
We should clarify that it wasn't just our daughter that got First Communion.
Julia received her First Communion with her two cousins.
Right. Which are the daughters of your brothers.
Correct. So that's part of the reason we do our own First Communions is we have so many kids that are the same age, which is going to be a real cluster at graduation season. But
because her class did have a First Communion, but we didn't participate with that. We did it separate.
Correct. I don't know.
Which is the same way we did for
every
John
child.
Paul's, Amelia's, and Joey's First Communion.
Aaron did do his with
his class at St. Mike's.
At that point, my dad's health was a little bit better, so he was at St. Mike's.
Your dad did all of them except for Joey. He didn't do Joey because that was during COVID.
It was the vid, and so Joey did not receive.
But he did on your birthday. That was your 40th birthday. We went to Mass for the first time.
Yeah, that was a very memorable birthday. I turned 40. You got me a mug and a T-shirt and a case of beer. So it was
can we
lovely.
go back in time? So we talked. I don't know if we talked about this.
I don't know if we have.
Brief.
You really,
let's go brief
man,
because you keep saying T-shirt. So you turned 40 during COVID, like
Correct.
in the heart of COVID, May 2020.
Deeply into COVID.
So that was like everything was like lockdowns.
Right.
Remember, you couldn't even leave the state.
Right.
Remember, like leaving the state.
You still say that you had something really special planned.
I did have something special.
You did not, because you still won't tell me what
I'm
that
not going to
special
tell
is.
you because I'm going to save it for something else.
I wonder when you're saving it.
So I had plans, and then I'm not going to say what I called it.
You're not. Definitely, you're not. Aaron referenced COVID in a very offensive way on social media. I think we
talked about this last week.
Yeah, okay,
so anyway, I had plans. The world shut down, and we couldn't do it because. So I think you should admit that instead, I gave you like over 10 days. I gave you like 10 different gifts. So,
right, like one day was like
I had to make up.
One day was like a henna kit, which still feels confusing. Then a mug, a T-shirt. I feel like maybe it was 3 days of celebration. Those are the only things I can't remember.
No. I did a lot of things for that one. So anyway,
it was fine.
I did put a lot of work in. I had to find your favorite beer.
You did great, yes.
And that took a lot of effort to try to find your favorite beer because they don't make it everywhere.
Right.
It's an African lager.
Right.
And we happened to find it on the way out to your brother's in Connecticut.
Because we broke the law and then
we felt very like outlaws because we went to Connecticut with your brother lived.
Right.
But at that time you were not supposed to leave the state.
Travel out of state.
Out of state.
Well, and I remember two things that are funny about that, and then we'll jump back into the First Communion. Number one, like you did surprise me. So you had like taken a side road trip to get me my favorite beer, I
had to call ahead. I had to be like, hey, do you get? 'Cause a lot of places say they have like, hey, do you have it? It looks like this. It's a big yellow box. There's an elephant on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you have a case of it?
Man, I could go for a Tusker. Disney also has Tuskers. So there are several places you can get it in the United States. But anyways. Do you remember during COVID, this is cute, we were all at my brother's. One brother is like he buys baller houses. So he had a huge house, and a couple families went out to his house during COVID.
Yes.
And we all went to the park with all of our kids, and the police actually, were you there when the police came?
We played we had like a football game. So
Right.
remember at that time we had all the kids. So there was like 20 plus kids. So there's like 25 people that went to this park, and we were all playing on this field.
Yeah.
And from the distance, someone was looking at us. Obviously, like they aren't supposed to be here
Because
this is
we
during
were
COVID.
breaking, yeah, exactly.
And like they were social distancing, so there was no parties. So
Right. Oh my
they see
gosh.
this large crowd, so we see them like walk towards us. And we're like, okay, this is not gonna be good.
Yeah.
And they walked over and said, like, yeah, you can't be here.
Well, they thought we were an organized like sports.
Yeah, because it's like
activity.
25,
Right.
but they thought we were having
Yeah.
like a full blown like flag football
Stupid.
game.
It was so stupid. Everything was so stupid.
But all to go back to yes.
Yeah, sorry. First communion. So anyways, lots of kids. 40th birthday. I don't even know why we went there. I don't know what we were talking about. But I will say it was Julia's first communion. So Mass was lovely. Father Mario had intentionally picked out these little tiny saints to give each girl at the end of Mass.
Yes.
But he thought my niece's name is Jordan. So I told him that their names were obviously Julia, Charlotte, and Jordan.
But you didn't spell her name right.
Right. So he bought a boy tiny saint. And literally as he's walking to go like line up to proceed, he looks at me like to process down the aisle. He's like, you didn't tell me Jordan was a girl. And so, but he figured it out and it was lovely. So the Mass was great. And I did think to myself, I mean,
and then
go ahead. There's like probably select times that we'll be able to do that with my dad, all of us together with him celebrating, you know what I mean? Being with Father Mario. And so it was very sweet.
Yeah. He did for him. He didn't do Joy's, but he's done all the other ones, the first communion.
Yeah. So Mass was great.
Ted played guitar.
Yes, Mr. Divine played guitar for us.
Which was good because last year we did not have anyone play music.
And Father Mario was very upset about that. He's like, you actually need to have a musician for a first communion Mass.
So like your sister was like singing from the back, like trying to project.
Or Immaculate Mary, yeah.
So we were like, yeah, we need to make sure we have music. So
yeah, so it was great.
So we did that as well.
Now, every single guest that was going to come ended up canceling. And I think there were two reasons for that. Number one, it's a Saturday in May, which is brutal. May is so insane. That should be our topic today, but it's not going to because Habemus Papam. But then my brother lives really far away. We had explained that on the podcast. Then it was cold. So like, I think if it had been a beautiful, like hot day, everybody still would have driven out to
you
like.
sold it as like a pool
like
party.
a pool party. And so all these people are like, yeah, we're not going to go. We're not going to go. We're not going to go. And it's fine. As we were driving out to Brighton, I was actually quite bitter that we were having to do that just because I don't like the sacraments that way, but it ended up being awesome.
Yeah, the sun came out, so
all the kids were in the pool
until the sun came out.
Right,
and
I love that it was just our family. Actually, to be honest, one of the things I love to invite people and include people like. It's important to me to have friends and families at these moments, but sometimes when you gather people that don't all know each other, it's wildly stimulating because you have to make sure people are like having fun and talking to people, and it's like you just go from people to people. And I felt like I didn't have to do that. I could really enjoy the day. So.
And we paid for those people even though they didn't show up.
Well, I mean, okay. You just wanted to note that on the podcast.
Yeah, no facts. This is a show about facts.
Okay, great.
So that happened.
Then we moved into this week. I mean, it has been a whirlwind. What did we do on Sunday? I feel like we did something on Sunday. No, Sunday was a rainy day. I read most of the day. Do you remember you let me read?
It rained a lot. No, that's what we said because it was completely clear on Saturday, but Sunday it rained the entire day. So we were so fortunate that we had the rain on Sunday, not Saturday. So that would have changed. You
ran some errands on Sunday. You were like driving. You helped your dad, and then you were driving my kids back to my parents'. You were busy on Sunday, but I wasn't. I read all day long.
Yeah, I had to help my brother with something.
Yeah.
And I had to go to my parents' house. Right. Yes, you are correct.
Riveting conversation.
But you were at home.
And then this week has just been crazy. I mean, it's just one thing after another. We are deeply in May. I can't see any way around what May is.
But it's not the busyness of kids' activities, though. So I was...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, we've not, like, other than the first communion on the weekends, we have not been... crazy busy with kids' activities.
I guess no, not like sports and stuff like
You're
that.
You're talking work related.
Yeah, work related, but there's also like band concerts and field trips here and this there and that there. I mean, it's busy right now. It's busy. It's busy. I feel like. And
still better than the winter.
Yes. And then on Thursday, I was at a retreat that I wasn't going to go to. My son's 5th grade retreat. My coworker runs that. And so I had asked my coworker if I could stay home. Like, he doesn't necessarily need me. But my 5th grade son kept asking, like, Mom, why won't you come? Like, why won't you come? It does make me feel kind of good. each of your children actually want me at their school. Like, I'm fun. Like, I'm fun.
Yeah.
I think they recognize that when I come to retreats, it's fun. And so...
Joey wouldn't, though.
No, Joey asked me to go on his retreat this year. I didn't want to go on it. Yeah, like I feel like I'm cool at the elementary school, just so you know.
Okay.
I don't feel like you acknowledge how cool I am, but like I've got cool vibes.
Is that something to
brag about?
Yeah.
Yeah, kids like me. I'm cool.
Okay.
You want to be cool for your kids' friends.
I don't need that.
I don't need it, but it's nice that they don't all hate me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, great. My kids are always like, you're always nice to everybody else and not to us. If only they saw you in the house. It's very true. It's very true.
I'm fine with that.
No, I'm a hot mess in this house.
Yeah. Oh, that you mean that? I thought you meant me.
No.
Sorry, I thought you meant they knew about me.
No, I mean the two personalities of Mrs. Wilkerson.
Oh, yeah, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, like there's two different personalities.
Because people are like, oh, your wife's so amazing. She's so awesome. She's so
nice.
I'm like, yes, but
right.
if you only knew.
If you only knew.
Like, if your girl only knew.
I sometimes think about like hidden cameras in this home and what
I think people would be mortified.
Yeah.
If they heard some of the things
I agree with you
that you've said.
I'm going to tell you at the end.
One day, I feel we should talk about the worst thing you've ever said to me.
Oh,
one day we'll talk about that.
We haven't talked about it on the podcast?
No, we haven't yet. But we'll save that because that's a whole different conversation.
Maybe that'll be an upcoming week.
We should do that, like worst things we've said to each other.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when we were out at a restaurant last week and I ordered a salad and you said, wow, it's really nice that you're finally ordering a salad. Maybe that. We'll start there. Anyway.
That's funny.
Wait, I was just going to say something.
You're talking about a field trip.
Yeah, but remind me to tell you.
Being cool and popular.
Remind me to tell you what the Lord said to me about my mouth later. But anyways, so.
Shut it.
I was at this pretty much. We were at the retreat and I left early to get back to work.
Retreat's at Subiaco.
Right, because not Subiaco. This one's at Solanas Casey in Detroit.
Casey.
So I'm leaving early with my coworker, and we've been watching. Like, we haven't turned off the screens. Like, we're watching the chimney, watching the chimney.
Are we going into the PayPal?
Yeah. We're on Thursday now.
Can I just make one point real quick?
Sure, yeah,
on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Band concert. Only thing I'm gonna say about is that it could have been our last. It could have potentially be our last band concert.
It was great. Yes.
Because John Paul is very much like, I am done with band. He plays the trumpet. He's like, I'm done. Joey is also like not into it.
He's
and
not
I'm
into
like,
it, but he's good at it. I was very surprised.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Considering the money we pay for it, if he's not into it, if he's not like, I want to do this, then I'm like, peace out. And then we can be done with band.
Yes.
So I think that was our last band concert.
Maybe. And the thing is, it's the problem with band. Not problem. It's awesome. But practices are early in the morning. So we have to get up early. He doesn't like that he's got to get up early. He does not like
getting up and going there at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I think we may be saying goodbye to band. Great. That was our swan song.
You are all over the place. Can we go back to Thursday?
No, I'm going logical.
Retreat?
I was going in order.
I didn't know you wanted to talk about
We go in
concert.
order. We have to mention it.
Oh, man. If we're going to mention the band concert.
You got to talk about the art. That's what happened on Sunday.
Wait.
When was the art thing?
Wait. Friday. We don't have to talk about that.
Briefly.
There was an art show, me and Juan, at the end, right? Do you need to talk about it more than that?
I guess.
We need to have riveting content, honey. I will say something about the band concert. I want to say something about the band concert. It's 4 days later, and I've actually probably blocked it from my mind. That's how PO'd I was, and that means pretty,
what does PO mean?
Pretty ornery about something. I sent Aaron early because our son had to be dropped off at 6:30. It is very hard to find a lot of seats on an end at something like a band concert. I knew I wanted to leave early because I had several 6 o'clock or 5:45 a.m. starts at work this week. So like, that's really hard for me. So, and I had one on Thursday after the band concert. So I sent Aaron early and I texted him and I said, hey, make sure you get us like 5 seats on the side that has like the doors that I could easily escape from. I walk into the band concert at like 3 minutes to 7 because why be there early? My husband's been there for 30 minutes and you were talking to someone. There were no seats on the auditorium on the side. I was furious because like, it's like one job, dude.
But in retrospect, you admit how silly it was to be so
No,
upset.
I'm dead. I had to stand through the whole concert.
That was a choice.
No, it wasn't a choice. I was not going to climb over 20 people and then leave early and climb over as a distraction 20 people. You're so annoying. I'm so annoyed. And then it was like, he's like, yeah, I was just chatting with people. Like, it just must be nice to be a dude and not have to consider any actual logistics of how things work.
You're right. I don't do logistics.
No, this is
Hashtag
crazy
New
that
York
you.
City.
No, I'm so
But
mad
the
at
point
you.
I will
I'm
give
still mad
myself
at you.
credit. I'll
No,
give myself
you're gonna give
credit.
yourself credit. I'm
I'll
excited.
pat myself in the back is that there were seats, but they were in the middle. So we walked by a couple folks, but I took all the kids. So you sat by yourself.
I didn't sit. I stood.
I saw you sitting down on the steps.
When the kid, right.
So you sat down on the steps, but there was an opportunity because I took the rest of the kids. So we found ample seating.
Yeah, climbing
we all
over
sat
20
down.
people. I mean,
we all sat down and there were spaces.
Man.
So if you
I
have
told- I
extra
texted
needs on the
Aaron.
end.
This was wild to me.
But I ignore that. Like when you get all like, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
It was crazy. I just want to make sure now. I feel a little like I want to be careful about what I say on the podcast. But there was one lady that chose to stand through 2 whole songs in the middle of the audience to record her children. Like if you were behind her, I actually thought it was the boldest choice in the universe. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that is a bold choice. She wanted to see her child and
she was
wanted
proud
to get that recording.
Forget
so
you got.
yeah.
You better lean to the left or the right.
Anyway, so that was great. Then back to Habemus Papam.
Thursday.
Right. Coming home early from the retreat. And I'm with my coworker, Dawn, which is cute because you'll remember who you were with at these things, right? You probably won't. You don't care. But Dawn is watching it on her phone and she says, "It's white smoke! It's white smoke!" And I look and I'm driving. Thank God we're alive.
Who was driving though?
I was driving.
I was about to say, I thought you said she was
driving. No. And I look over, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's white smoke. And I hated that I wasn't at school for it. Like, and I hated that I was in the car and I knew it was going to happen when I was in the car. But thankfully it takes.
But we didn't though, because remember because Thursday they had the one vote like at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, Wednesday.
No, I mean like the second day. Okay. Like the second day they had the one vote at like 4:00 in the morning. The second vote was like at 7. So I don't think people thought that they were going to.
No, we knew. We knew it would be right around 12 or 1.
We didn't think. I think people didn't think that it was going to happen that quickly.
Know. You just don't know. And so then I'm like so frustrated trying to get to work. We got to work thankfully, and then it was so cool, guys. Like our school announced it on the PA. Like every teacher, if they could, had it on streaming. Kids were genuinely excited about this, which was beautiful to see. Like there's something about the sacred, I think, that's really is just fascinating. So then you can tell that he's about to come out. So we ran to the art room where they had this huge screen, but it wasn't in English, so we couldn't tell what they were saying. So I went and sat next to a coworker with my friend Mike, and we're watching his little computer. And I'm telling you, they like said his name and said something like I don't know, somebody said like it's an American, and I'm like, wait, this guy's from the United States. He's from the USA. And my coworker hushed me and was like, "You're misunderstanding. There's just no way. Like you're misunderstanding." And sure enough, good old Rob from Chicago,
from the Shy
town.
Through South America though.
I mean, it's not through. I mean,
what I said was apparently South America has become this papal training ground because Pope Francis was from South America. Now you have the current Pope who also went through South America,
right?
For his.
People like me, I think, that have been Catholic like all of our lives and are middle-aged or older.
I think you're older than middle-aged now.
I'm right in the middle. We're like still shocked that there's an American Pope. Like,
yeah, I would not have bet. If I was betting, I would not.
Nobody would have.
No one would have bet.
Did you see the homily yesterday that he gave?
No.
Okay, so I posted on Instagram about this, his first homily. So it was interesting. He comes out and he speaks. I thought it was super interesting that he addressed the people of Peru in Spanish, but did not address Americans in English. I thought that was it had to have been an intentional choice. There's a lot of controversy. That's so an exaggeration. People are like, there would never be an American Pope because of the influence and power that we already have on a global scale. It wouldn't be prudent to also have a leader, right, of the church from the United States. But like you said, he's been in Peru for the last 30 years, right? But I do think the choice not to say, like, and to my fellow United States, like he just did not acknowledge that at all out on the balcony.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that he's probably disconnected from the United States.
Right.
I always say it's like Madonna, who's from Michigan.
Right.
We hear her talking, she talks with like this English accent, like, chick, aren't you from like Pontiac?
Right.
So I think I think at a certain point, if you're away from something for so
like
long,
30 years,
especially he's like 69 years old.
Yeah.
So I think it's like if you've been gone that long, it's like technically you're American, but you have no connection to the United States.
Well, I mean,
he has brothers here, right? So I'm saying like in terms of like where
I think
your
I don't
roots
know.
are. Like,
I think it was more of a choice than that. I think it was that I think he was elected. I don't think a traditional United States cardinal would have been elected. I think he was elected because he's so distant from the
Correct. That's what I'm
experience of
saying. I
being
think he's so
right,
distant from it.
right, and he's an order
Um,
priest. So like the USCCB, right, like the United States Council of Confraternity of Catholic Bishops, something like that. Like he's not super like he's an order. He's an Augustinian, right? So that's a different path on its own. But what was really cool is the next day he gave a homily, and it did surprise people. He chose to preach his homily in English. And what was fascinating, guys, and this is church nerd stuff, so you got to be me. Like, what was fascinating about watching this homily in English is I've watched popes talk forever in translators. Do you know what I mean? Translating what the popes are saying. When you're listening to somebody in your native tongue with your native like inflection and tone and pauses and passion, you hear things that you wouldn't normally hear, like that I didn't hear when Benedict talked or Francis talked or Pope John Paul II talked, because you're speaking a different like language I don't understand. So it was really beautiful. Like even his pauses and the way he was saying things and the you go high on certain things and low on certain, like it was just really cool. I'm very excited.
yeah.
And what tripped me out, which I'm sure everybody has seen by now, is his brother talking and being like, yeah, like right before he went to the conclave, we play Wordle. We do Wordle every day. It's one of the ways that we kind of relax together. And I'm like cracking up because you and I used to do Wordle every single day. And then his brother's like, and I asked him if he watched the movie Conclave. He said he did. And like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, his brother is getting his 15 minutes of fame right now in Chicago. Well,
Yeah.
both of them. I think
I feel like
he's got two brothers.
He's got
so
two
the
brothers.
older one was on CBS.
Yeah.
And the other brother, actually, do you remember he had his iPad like I think right after he got elected, he had like FaceTime his brother.
Yeah, this is interesting.
He had FaceTime his brother, and there was a film crew in his brother's apartment.
Yeah.
When the Pope was FaceTiming his brother, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys can't like interview me
yeah,
right
you
now.
Can't film." So, like at first, though, he's looking at that, he's like, "Oh, he's calling right now. How weird! He's calling right now." Because they did say it had been strange. Just has to be so interesting that he hadn't called, and it was like a day and a half later he still hadn't called.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, and you already when I think you have somebody in your family that becomes a priest, they belong to other, right? Like they belong then to the church or to the experience of the priesthood, but for certain in leadership and the Pope. So very, very
and the question
cool.
now is, when is he coming to the United States?
Right.
Which,
did you hear the thing today, Mr. Man? What he referenced intentionally is why he chose the name Leo the 14th. Did you see this?
Something about Leo the 13th. He wrote something.
He wrote a document called about social justice. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce it here. But he also said, in light of our current culture and artificial intelligence, that was one of the reasons he chose his name, because it gives a way to frame modern situations in light of humanity. It's super interesting. So I was like, oh, look, your little AI world. For him to be naming that as why he actually named AI and how to approach AI in a way that is like human, and it's just interesting. It's human.
Yeah.
So it's cool. Habemus Papam.
Yeah, in my world, it never came up. So
dude, I think that's so weird. So you were in a real live meeting with people?
Yeah, I was in virtual? A meeting. No, we were in the office.
Like nobody in the secular. I understand it's secular, but nobody was like, "Oh, they chose a pope."
Zero.
That's so weird.
It's like it didn't happen.
That is so weird. Did you have it up on your computer?
I would check like updates on my phone.
Did they know that you were watching? Because they do know you're Catholic. I mean,
yeah,
you do make your faith pretty.
I was in the back. I was in the back of the room. So.
Okay.
Habemus Papam did not come up.
Have any of your secular coworkers mentioned it to you? Isn't it funny? That's so funny.
Has not come up.
Because Habemus Papam, it's a big deal. I'm very excited.
It is.
It's I think in a good direction for our church. It'll be interesting to see what his papacy is like.
Yeah, I think people are already trying to make the problem with United, like everyone roots everything in American politics, so they're already talking about so is he left or right or things like that, which is which I think why people figure we would never have an American pope.
Well, I mean, one of my students was like, just so you know, he's a registered Republican, and then he showed me his tweets, which are pretty. I mean, like his actual tweets are pretty anti. I wouldn't say anti-Trump. I mean, he has a real problem with our immigration policies. Good old Leo the 14th. So it'd be crazy. It's crazy. And it's fun being a Catholic. Like, yeah, it's fun being a Catholic.
Well, and he's older. So I think that in the next 13 years,
Yeah.
we'll probably be doing this.
Do you know how old Pope
all
Francis
again.
was when
He was like 83, I think.
No, when he was 83 when he died?
I think so.
Really? That's young.
No, that's old. Your grandfather died at 83.
Wow. Francis. Pope Francis.
I think he was 83 or 84.
Age. All right, what do we got going on this week? 88.
88?
I mean, that's closer to 90 than 80. I feel like you exaggerate. You need to apologize to the people. 88 years old when he died.
Correct. I was wrong by 5 years.
Yeah, that's a lot, though, when you're talking about older. So can you apologize?
19 years. So my point is that...
Can you apologize to everybody, please? Thanks. Just apologize.
Sorry, 15, 18 years, we'll be back doing this.
Habemus, Papam.
If we have our podcast in the year 2043, we'll be referencing this.
We'll see.
Potentially.
Anything else in your world that you want to talk about?
Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. My favorite, because we're in the thick. When it comes to the month of Mary, we're in like the Holy Week when it comes to that, because we got Mother's Day is tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we have a week, and then your birthday is coming up. So let's talk about Mother's Day.
So you gave me my Mother's Day gift today, which is my favorite kind of bath stuff. It's from a place called Nectar. Yes. You have to order online. I was very excited about that. Tonight, to celebrate Mother's Day, we're going out with your coworkers to an improv show, which begins at 8 o'clock. Like, the people know us by now if they listen. I have to go to a social event tonight that begins at 8 o'clock. Just sit with that.
Let's just clarify and say, I asked ahead of time.
I know, but you didn't say it was Mother's Day weekend.
Okay, I thought that you would have checked what was going on that weekend. I just assumed you would have checked that.
It'll be fine. It'll be fun.
I think it'll be fine.
And then tomorrow I'm excited. We went last year. We did do a podcast about this. We went last year. You surprised me with the Whitney.
No, we didn't start the podcast till June.
Well, I definitely remember talking about the roller skating ring on our podcast.
We talked about it later. Okay, yes.
But you surprised me last year by taking me to the Whitney, and this year you asked if we were open to inviting our parents. So my mom and dad are coming. Your parents are coming, and we're going to the Whitney, which is a very fancy brunch.
Yes.
And brunch is my meal.
Yes.
That is what I like to go out to brunch. That I would take brunch over dinner any day, twice on Sundays. Like, I love a good brunch.
Correct.
Give me a good mimosa at brunch.
Yes, brunch is your jam.
Yeah. And this year the kids will actually be dressed appropriately. Last year we went to the Whitney, which is a fancier restaurant, and they were in jeans and torn dresses, stained sneakers.
No, they had a nice polo. They had like jeans and a polo shirt.
This is fake news to the next level.
They did not have a t-shirt on. They had
sneakers on. I mean, it was not good. Even a polo is a little underdressed for that. A button-down shirt is what you should be wearing to the
anyways.
And then I'm sure you have other great plans and gifts planned for tomorrow. So I will wait in joyful
No, your nectar was probably it.
Probably. I heard probably.
Most likely, yes. So yeah, I love Mother's Day. It's a good day to celebrate.
You do love
your
celebrating
motherhood.
Me, yes.
I love celebrating you so much.
And your mother. Celebrating our mothers.
Celebrating the women
in
my life. So definitely to all our, because I feel like we have a predominantly female viewership.
Yeah, it's because you don't share it on LinkedIn, our podcast.
Correct, because it's nothing to do with work. So
I literally just mentioned AI.
I would say, yes, you said 2 letters. So definitely a happy Mother's Day to our female listeners who are mothers.
Yes. Great.
Hopefully that your husband, sons, grandsons spoil you rotten.
There was an interesting topic in my office, about Mother's Day with my teenagers, because one of my students was saying that there was some not tension, they were trying to work something out because her aunts and uncles didn't want to celebrate her grandma on Mother's Day, because they're like, this day's for us, it's not for you, because they have the uncles, the aunts didn't want to get together and celebrate the grandma.
Which is
common
question.
A couple of my students were like, that's appalling. Like, you should want to celebrate your mom even if you are a mom. And I was like, no, because I'm pretty insistent that the day before Mother's Day I will celebrate with my mom. The day after Mother's Day, it's very unusual for me to see my mom on Mother's Day. Like, this is not a day for me. Okay. I know this is not a day for me to celebrate my mom. On the actual
You're
day.
allowed to have an opinion.
No,
about
and
that.
my
that's interesting.
Yes,
that's
this is what I'm saying. I'm going to put it on Instagram.
Yeah, I would like.
Wait, you're not letting me fully articulate.
No, I was going to say I think this is a good one to put on Insta or get feedback from our listeners about this.
I for sure need to celebrate my mother, for sure, and want to and do every year.
This is similar
on
to
Mother's Day. I would like that day to be about me and my children.
And it just
Yeah.
you though, not children. You.
Yeah,
You want
no,
to
and
about you.
celebrating with my kids. I don't want to on Mother's Day have to go to my mom's house, your mom's house. Then it's like, moms, this is just what we have to do. Like the day becomes about everybody else. This is the one day I'm weird about it. I am.
Wow.
But you always see your mom on Mother's Day because part of what you give
it's
me,
Mother's Day. Yes.
what you give me on Mother's Day is a couple hours to be by
you ain't
myself.
my mama.
Well, and, yeah, like
you ain't my mama.
I love when you say that. I love when you say that
clear.
so much. So but I was surprised in my office how many students were appalled by the fact that I held that stance.
It is a very
that I
I've
do not
seen
spend Mother's Day.
There's a lot of people who agree with you. They're
Yeah.
like,
this is not the day where I run around to talk to like.
Right.
It's not. This is the day that I get to celebrate with my kids my motherhood.
Yeah, it's like Father's Day because for Father's Day, I get Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, which is your favorite restaurant?
I love Buffalo Wild Wings.
Exactly. So.
Wait.
I am curious. I was going to ask the Instagram about it because I was surprised how many of my students were absolutely appalled by what I was saying. They were like, well, why can't it be about you both? And why can't you? And I'm like, because guys, you don't understand. Like, then I have to go to this house for 2 hours and this house for 2 hours. And then the whole day is traveling other places for other
that's
people.
Like 4 hours.
I feel very strongly about this.
Yes, you do.
And when I had kids, I told my mom right away, like, sorry, on the actual day. To be honest, I feel like I led the charge because now my other siblings say the same thing. Like, not on Mother's Day. Like, we'll celebrate with you, but tomorrow's different because we did invite them to go to the
So,
wedding.
Mom, you get to be alone. That's what you're saying. Mother's Day,
dad.
You get to be by yourself.
With my dad.
It
becomes less important, I think, as my kids get older. But when your kids are so little, like, it's nice to have a day that you don't have to, like, do all the things for
I'm
all
just
the people.
excited for our kids to get older and them to take over the pampering of you.
Oh, I was going to say.
That's not my responsibility.
But honestly, when they move out and they have their own wives with their own children, I will not expect them to come see me on Mother's Day. I would never expect that. I will expect you, my husband, to always celebrate what I have given you through my children.
I feel like that's not fair. I feel
you need to stop saying that I am not your mother because I have given you 5 children in 6.5 years. That's what you're celebrating.
So
You're celebrating.
I'm celebrating myself making you a mother.
No, you're celebrating me being a mother, saying yes to motherhood.
Oh,
giving you these 5 beautiful gems.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't go away from me. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
So
and
I'm
I celebrate
obligated.
you on Father's Day. I celebrate you well on
Father's Day.
I hate Father's Day. Well, no. Can I say something for the record?
Yeah,
and
let's do a preview of Father's Day.
We've already discussed this on the podcast too. Here's what I'm going to say about Father's Day.
Because Father's Day happened after we started the podcast.
Just as a brief reminder.
Father's Day is every day.
I have no problem now that my kids are older celebrating you on Father's Day. I don't care if people think this sounds awful. When I had a gazillion babies in the work of all of that, or like when I was pregnant with 2 tiny babies and I'm pregnant with another one and like, exactly. No. And we had 2 July babies. So it's June. I'm 8.5 months pregnant. I have toddlers and children all over my house. And it's like, let's take a day to celebrate dad. Let's take a day so dad,
it's so
and
terrible.
it's like, yeah, dad needs a day of rest. Like, it was the most absurd. I'm still being triggered by it. The amount that I hated Father's Day the first 10 years of our marriage, I hated it.
My God.
I hated
it. Swear and be like,
I wouldn't swear.
Your bitterness.
I wouldn't swear.
Your bitterness.
It was very hard for me to serve with a smile because I actually don't think you guys need Father's Day.
Oh my God.
Stop. Now that they're older, it's changed.
Oh, I can't believe you can say this with a straight face.
Now that they're older, it's changed. When they were little and it was like, let's give dad a day of rest, I'm still upset about it. And the other thing, I'm not going to go there. It was gross.
Go ahead. No, go there.
Like the other thing is like you have one day where husbands are like, okay, it's Mother's Day. So like you don't have to do any chores and like today can just be about you. And all that means is that the dishes pile up and the house is a mess and everything gets punted until Monday. So the worst day ever is the day after Mother's Day when you have to do everything you didn't do because it wasn't like your spouse is like proactively doing the things. They're just saying, don't do it. And I hate when you say that. You don't have to do it. Just leave it. Just leave it. Okay, boo. I'll just leave it.
Wow. That's uncensored. So that's unfiltered, uncensored.
And maybe we'll end the podcast by me saying I was driving home from an event today and I was thinking about how ugly I talk sometimes, both in my home and to others, about others with lots of swear words. And the Lord was like, this is the one thing I need you to work on.
What, how much you hate Father's Day?
No, my tongue, like the way that I talk, the way that I gossip, the way that I swear. I don't gossip a lot to other people. I talk to you about everything in non-charitable ways. right? Like I get home and then I unleash all the things that I've kept inside all day.
And you find some way it's my fault.
I do not. That's
If you
a lie.
can.
That's
If there's
lie.
a sliver
That's a
of way
lie.
that it's
That's
my
a lie.
fault,
That's a lie.
you will ask me like this
So anyways,
question.
no, but I'm serious. The Lord told me I need to work on that. And he's like, that's going to be your big sin that you got to root out is mouthiness.
So I'll make sure I post this tonight ahead of Mother's Day.
Great.
So that all the women who agree with you can
I'll put it on Instagram
and join in and say, yes, screw Father's Day and screw my mother.
Yes.
This is our day. So I'm very excited for Father's Day to come up and to see what that's
No, I
going
do.
to
I
be.
celebrate you now. Now, actually, I totally appreciate you
got
now.
Buffalo. We drove an hour.
Stop. That was
we went to the restaurant.
All right, we already talked about this last year. If you're going to repeat whole episodes, we're going to have to stop recording the podcast.
I'm not.
All right, I'm going to buy a nice shirt for tonight.
Maybe.
Yep. All right. Talk to you later, fam. Bye.